Hello, so this video is going to be on the Italian M33 helmet, and these are actually quite interesting, but weirdly it's one of those helmets not that many people talk about when they talk about old helmets. And strangely enough, it was one that I only recently thought, why don't I own this helmet? So the Italian M33 helmet has quite a long history for a steel pot helmet, which is actually quite fascinating. So I'll just give you an outline of the sort of shape of the helmet to begin with. Kind of similar in looks to the Soviet SSH-40 helmet, because I guess this is just a general good shape for a steel pot. The reason is obviously you've got a decent line coming up to there, so you can see out of it, but it gives you good protection at the sides where your ears are, and then it goes up a bit at the back of the head as well to protect your neck. Lots of helmets like this you can actually wear in reverse if you want to as well. The reason being, supposedly, if you were doing certain tasks, military sort of things, wearing the helmet backwards would give you a better sort of, way of looking through binoculars and things like that, but would also, still offer adequate head protection. Obviously, the way it's meant to be worn is with these two rivets sort of at the front there, and that rivet at the back. So, liner-wise, it's got your standard, what sort of people know as the Italian-German liner system. Basically, a bit of leather, where there's like a shoelace, and this one it's a leather cord holding it all together. And this one has just a simple fabric strap. Now I believe over the years these helmets were made, these sort of straps changed. Some of them had leather sort of buckle straps. This one's just got a simple sort of nylon style adjustable strap. So to put the helmet on, pretty simple. Basically get the helmet like that, put it on, then pull this bit under your chin, and then that's the helmet on. So this is quite an iconic helmet, but weirdly enough it's one that, as I said, people don't seem to remember all that well, which is a shame because it is a very good steel pot. So, as the name would imply, M33 helmet, it came into service around 1933-1934 during Mussolini's Italy, fascist Italy. And basically it was so Italy could make their own domestic helmets for all their troops. Prior to this, from what I understand, Italy was just using French Adrian helmets, which they'd sort of bought in mass from France. I don't know if they domestically produced any, but they basically wanted to come up with their own design to make themselves, not pay any royalties to have anyone and have their own cool sort of designed helmet. So, one thing to note which is really important with this helmet, M33, so designed in 1933, yeah, it's a full-on steel pot helmet that covers nearly all of the head. Other than the old German World War I Stauhelms, I can't think of any helmet from Europe in this period that probably came before this that covered all the head. Again, I might be wrong. I know sort of in the interwar years Poland developed quite a good full head helmet, and a lot of other nations did. But bear in mind things like Britain and America were still using Brodie style helmets, the Mark I or Mark II helmet. It wasn't until during World War II Britain came up with the Mark III helmet, which still wasn't even as good as this, and Britain kept with that for ages. But the Italian M33 was actually kept in service from, obviously, 1933-1934 when it came into service, up until probably the 90s or late 80s when Italy eventually replaced it for Kevlar helmets. So, other than some minor changes made to it, this exact helmet stayed in service for ages. There's lots of famous pictures of Mussolini wearing this helmet. Obviously, if you look at any pictures of Italian soldiers during World War II, lots of them have this helmet on. And overall, yes, it's a good helmet, because if you look at this, it gives you very good head coverage, and, it's a good quality steel. So, all in all, for what steel pot helmets are meant to protect you from, shrapnel, flying debris, pistol caliber bullets, it would have done that perfectly, and it was well ahead of its time, for when it was made. And as I said, it's kind of interesting that Italy didn't feel like, because the issue with Nazi Germany was, obviously, after World War II, Germany didn't want to keep using the Stauhelm because they wanted to sort of denazify their image, and unfortunately the Stauhelm was seen as part of that image. So it wasn't until they kind of later came up with Stauhelm-style Kevlar helmets that they came back into service. Whereas obviously East Germany and West Germany West Germany basically had the USM-1 helmet, and East Germany went with the M56, which was originally a Nazi design, but then, they said, well, Nazis didn't really use it, did they, so we might as well use it. But yeah, this is kind of interesting that Italy, didn't say, oh, we feel ashamed of this helmet because of the historical connotations of it. We need to change to a new helmet. They said, well, it works, let's keep making it. So yeah, it's a good helmet. And, as I said, I'm quite impressed that this helmet has actually came out when it did, because, as I said, there's lots of World War II helmets that, you know, were much more primitive than this, and it took countries, you know, mid-Cold War before some of them even came up with designs like this. Out of all the steel parts, as I've said before, my favourite is probably East German M56, but that's just because it gives the best protection of a steel pot helmet, just due to the like steep slopes of it. The Yugoslavian Stahlhelms are very good as well, because they're sort of like German Stahlhelms, just reshaped a bit, and they've got a very good line system. Interesting enough, talking of Yugoslavia, Yugoslavia did buy or get a lot of these helmets, and then they just repainted them, you know, refitted them and everything, so you can get Yugoslavian refits of these as well, quite cheap online. But yeah, that's most of the video about the Italian M33 helmet. It's, as I said, bloody good for when it came out. You can get these in different colours. This one's a green one that's going a bit rusty now, but, you know, overall still looks good. You can sometimes see these pure black, which look quite good, which I think was more the fascist-looking sort of ones. But they were interesting enough. If you've seen the 1984 film, the one with John Hurt in it and Richard Burton, I think that's what the Fort Police and all that wearing that, or the Oceania soldiers. They've all got M33 helmets on that are just painted pure black, which I think looks really aesthetic. But yep, here you go. Here's one of the lesser-known World War II helmets, despite it actually being one of the best World War II helmets. So again, lots of people still prefer the Stahlhelm to this, and again, I can kind of see the pros and cons of it. I guess the Stahlhelm did cover a bit more of that section of the head, and of course the Stahlhelm's a really cool looking design, but as I said, the Italian M33 helmets were bloody good for what they were. And again, the Soviets didn't come up with a helmet of this sort of shape or quality until the 40s. It took Britain till sort of mid-40s or early 40s again to get the Mark III helmet, the tortoise or turtle helmet, which wasn't even as, you know, good a shape as this and much crapper liner than this. America didn't go to the M1 helmet until the early 40s as well, so yeah, it seems the Italians beat most countries in getting a good military helmet.